Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Edit. And I have a couple of things to apologize for. The lighting in here is still not great. I don't have a light fitting. But my background is kind of done. We're still going to put up my picture. And there's a lot of banging. So I'm hoping that it's not going to transfer into my microphone because we're having a new roof installed. But I need to get this weekly edit out to you. So if you will be patient with me, we will get this done because I've been trying to record this weekly edit for a couple of days now. Anyway, here goes. Okay, so today I want to talk about this trap that so many of us fall into. We tell ourselves that we are going to create a life when things settle down, when our kids are doing much better, when our kids' school situation is better, when we've got more time, when we feel less overwhelmed, when we're sleeping better, when our partner changes, all of the things. When the circumstances means that we've got a little bit more support. And it sounds reasonable and even responsible, but what it really does, it just makes you put your life on pause because there's always going to be something. Hey, we are parents of autistic children. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be a circumstance that we didn't plan for, or a person who makes a choice that you wouldn't choose, or your kiddo needing more from you than you thought. Maybe there's a bill that arrives that you didn't expect, or there's a difficult conversation that you have to have, or just having a trying time. Like we're in, well, we finished moving, but we're in the process of moving. So it's been a trying time. Now, the question is not whether life is going to become easier. The question is whether you are willing to create the life that you want while life is still being life. So the greatest growth doesn't happen when everything's okay and everything's comfortable. It happens when you stop waiting for things to be perfect, circumstances to be perfect, and decide to move forward anyway. So just by refusing to make your circumstances dictate your future, and this matters, it does matter being a parent of an autistic child, because you may have spent years telling yourself that you will focus on your life later when your kiddo is more settled, or when they can communicate better, or when you have the right support in place, or when you are sleeping better. But later can become years, and it also can become never if you let it. Now, remember, you are allowed to love your kid and do all the things for them. You're allowed to advocate for them. You're allowed to meet their needs without dismissing yourself in the process. You are allowed to build a life for you right now. And it's a life that includes your kids. It's a life that includes your responsibilities and your dreams and your personal growth and all your desires. It's not about choosing between autism and life. It is autism and life. Okay, so one of the hardest lessons that we face is to let other people just make their own choices. Because we come across this a lot. We have ideas about what they should do, how they should behave, how they should communicate to us and our kids, and how they should support us, how they should show up around us, our kids, our spouse, our friends. And we often carry this invisible manual for everyone around us. Now, this manual, other people don't even know what this manual is that we have for them. So, how do you expect them to act the way we want them to? So, when they fail to follow our manual, we feel frustrated and we feel hurt and we feel resentful. We believe that our pain, we being hurt, is caused by their behavior. But the moment that we make another person responsible for how we feel, we hand them the power. If they must change for us to be peaceful, then our peace is entirely dependent on them. And people are notoriously difficult to control. You might have figured that out by now, especially adults, especially institutions or systems, especially anyone who hasn't asked for our manual, our instruction manual for them. Now, letting go of that doesn't mean that you approve of what someone does or say. It doesn't mean that you allow harmful behavior. And it doesn't mean staying in situations that are wrong for you. It just means recognizing where your control ends. You get to decide who you want to be. You get to decide what you want to offer the world. You get to decide what you will tolerate. You get to decide what boundaries you put in place. And then you just allow other people to make their choices. And that is where your freedom lives. Your work isn't to manage other people or their journeys. Your work is to manage your own mind, just you. And the same principle also applies to money, because many people say that they want to they want more money, but underneath that thought that they want more money sits a bunch of thoughts that they don't question, that you never question. I don't need a lot. Wanting more is greedy. People like me don't make that kind of money. I don't know enough. Those thoughts can sound like facts, but they're not facts. They are just sentences in your mind. And once you recognize the sentence, you can now examine them. You may already have a lot of evidence that you know how to create money. You may know how to pay bills. You've solved problems. You've learned new skills. You've made plans. You've become resourceful. But you may dismiss those things because they don't produce an extraordinary result. But the ability that helped you survive is the same ability that can help you expand. So the difference is that survival feels necessary, but expansion feels optional. Now, when something feels necessary, you become decisive. If you have to pay the rent this month, you become so decisive. You stop questioning whether it's possible. You start looking for solutions. You try one thing, then another. Maybe you ask for help. And what might happen if you brought that same level of commitment to something that you wanted, even if it wasn't strictly necessary? What if creating more money was not about proving your worth? What if it was just a way to increase your capacity? Because it's not just about how much money you want to make, but the deeper reward is the person you become while creating it. The people who create extraordinary lives, lives that they really want, are not people who experience like crazy, extraordinary days. They are the people who the same, keep doing things every day, daily things every day. And this is how you build self-trust in yourself. Self-trust doesn't come from thinking positively about yourself. It comes from evidence. You say you're going to do something and then you do it. You decide to have a boundary, then you honor it. You make a plan and then you follow through as much as you possibly can. You allow a difficult emotion without it meaning that you are on the wrong path. So each small follow through becomes a vote for the person that you're becoming. And slowly you start creating a relationship with yourself that feels dependable. And then you begin to believe yourself. You know that even when you feel discouraged, it's not the end of the world. Even when circumstances change, you're going to find another route. Even when someone misunderstands you, you still remain anchored as who you are. And even when a plan fails, you learn what to do instead of giving up. And this is far more valuable than, say, confidence, because confidence can rise and fall depending on what's happening in your day. But self trust is sturdier. It says, I may not know exactly how this is going to work, but I trust myself to keep responding. That is the identity that we're building, not someone who can control everything, control the circumstances and everything out there, and money and all that stuff. Someone who trusts themselves enough to create, to adjust when things aren't working out well, and just try again. So, what does this look like in real life? It begins by noticing the thought that is currently keeping you stuck. Now, we've spoken about this before. Perhaps the thought is, I can't focus on myself when my kiddo needs so much. I have to be more flexible. There's no point in making a fixed plan. I can't grow my business until I have a lot more time. People will judge me if I stay home or charge for my work. I'm not ready to earn more. I should feel more motivated. Nothing is going to change. Notice the thought without judging yourself for having it. Then you question it. Is it completely true? Is that thought true? How does it make you feel? What do you do when you believe that thought? And does it move you towards the life that you want or away? Because we're all about creating a life that we really want. And then if that thought is doesn't feel good to you and it's not moving you forward, then you choose a thought that does move you forward, a thought that you can practice. Like, I can create within this life that I have now, this crazy life that I've got right now. I can plan for things to go well and handle the problems that come up. I don't need to feel motivated to keep my word to myself. I am allowed to want more. People can have opinions and I can let them. I can take one uncomfortable step today. My circumstances are part of my life, but they don't get to decide all of it. The new thought doesn't magically remove the challenges, but it changes how you see them. And that changes the possibility of what can happen. So the goal isn't a calmer home or a calmer kiddo or more money or growing your business or a stronger body or a more organized week. The goal is to become the person who knows how to create, the person who knows how to notice their thinking, the person who's willing to question those stories, those sentences in your mind, the person who can choose a new direction. You don't need a set of perfect circumstances. You just need the willingness to begin where you are right now. With the child that you have, with the schedule that you've got, with the resources that you've got, with the emotions that you have, the uncertainty you have. And the next decision, that one belongs to you. You may not be able to control the things around you, but you can decide how you are going to think about those things. and how you going to decide how to respond to those things. And then you get to decide what you're going to create next. And every time you make that decision, you become someone you trust just a little bit more, no matter what other people say. So, do you build the life that you want? Take the step, keep your word, especially to yourself. Because the most powerful result that you will ever create is not outside of you, it is right here. It's you. All right, my friends, that's what I have for you today. And magically, the hammering has stopped. So hopefully, it didn't distract you too much. All right, my friends, I will see you in next week's weekly episode. I'm sorry this has been a little bit of it's been a journey, shall I say. And if you have been expecting my work to be on time, this has just been a little chaotic time. And once we sorted ourselves out, we will be back on track again. All right, have a wonderful weekend, and I will speak to you next week. Bye.